Hey familia, Miranda here, and today I have another movie challenge for you. This one was put out yet again by Huck's Pop Culture Cafe. And this is the 25 actor challenge. So basically we had to pick 25 actors that we love, we enjoy, and a film to go with each of them, and then one ensemble film, which is basically a male dominant cast. So yeah, you guys, I had a lot of fun with this challenge. The only catch to it is that you cannot use any of the films you use in the A to Z challenge, which I honestly didn't really have too much trouble with that. I will say though, I did find this challenge to be a little bit more on the tough side, just because there's so many freaking amazing actors out there. It was super hard to narrow down my list, but I did it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what actors I picked. All right, so my first pick, I gotta have some Jack Black in my life. So I did pick a film that I find myself coming back to like all the time. I would definitely say this is probably my favorite role of his. It is just such a fun role, such a fun film, fun concept, and the kiddos in this film just really make his role all that much more special. That is School of Rock. This is one of his films that I never get tired of, and it is just such a blast. So next up, I did pick Sylvester Stallone, and I did use Rocky in the A to Z challenge, and honestly, guys, like the Rambo flicks, I feel like those were so overplayed in my household as a kid that I kind of lost a little bit of love for them. But I'm gonna go with a role of his that I think is just super great. It's another film of his that I grew up with, and one that I've always enjoyed, and I recently rewatched it, and it just held up beautifully, you guys, and that is Cliffhanger. So my next pick is Nicolas Cage, going with a classic of his that has definitely held up over the years, and that is Face Off. Such a badass flick, you guys. I really enjoyed revisiting this one recently. So next up, I gotta have some Denzel in my life, and so I decided to go with a role of his, kind of straying away from the action stuff. I wanted to go with something a little bit more serious. This was one of his films that I grew up on, and it's just a really amazing film. He is phenomenal in this role. A little bit more serious and a more kind of serious matter tied into sports and whatnot. And so I did go with Remember the Titans. I will forever love this film. Next, I went with Jet Li. Now, I know he's more well known for his like martial arts and action flicks. I decided to go a way different route with a film that I just recently watched, and I was blown away by this film, you guys. It was like a total 360 for Jet Li. Never seen him in anything like this before, and so I decided to go with Ocean Heaven. This is a drama, you guys. It's so heartbreaking because of the matters at hand, but it's also a very heartwarming film. So he plays the dad in this film, very serious role, but basically he has his autistic son. It's just him and his son, and he's dying. And so he's trying to make sure that his son is taken care of after he dies and everything. And it's just a very, very beautiful film. A amazing performance from Jet Li. And if you have not seen this, I highly recommend this one, you guys. You will not be sorry. This is just, it was interesting to just see him going from martial arts and action to something so serious. But yes, it's a phenomenal film. So the next actor I chose is actually Derek Luke. And I specifically chose his role here for Antoine Fisher. This was his first role, you guys, and he knocked it out of the park. He was absolutely amazing in his role in this film alongside Denzel. But yes, Derek Luke, very underrated actor, you guys. I really enjoy everything that I've seen him in. I mean, he was great in Biker Boys and also in his portrayal of Bobby Joe Hill in Glory Road. I mean, he was the boyfriend in Pieces of April, and he's just had some really great roles, and I just find him to be a very underappreciated actor, and I've enjoyed everything that I've seen him in. But Antoine Fisher, you guys, this is a phenomenal film, and yeah, he was just amazing in it. So next actor I chose is Ryan Gosling. Now, no, I am not going the typical route that most people would expect. I am going with a film that I forget if it was like earlier this year or it was last year that I watched this film for the first time, and I immediately fell in love with this film. I fell in love with Ryan Gosling's role in this film. It is something so different for him, but I absolutely love the film, and it's a unique, interesting storyline that's so full of heart and emotion, and it is a bit heartbreaking too, I will say. And the film I'm talking about is Lars and the Real Girl. So I had originally gotten the DVD from Dollar Tree, and so I had watched it on DVD, and I loved it so much I had to upgrade to Blu-ray, you guys. But like I said, this is such a different role for Ryan Gosling. He is just so likable in this film. But yeah, he does. He gets this doll, like, you know, human-sized doll, and kind of, it's like his best friend, and kind of falls in love with her and everything. And it's just so interesting how this story plays out, and just kind of how everybody around him grows to love this doll and stuff. So it's interesting, but I really love Ryan Gosling in this, you guys. So if you haven't seen this, definitely check it out. So for Arnold Schwarzenegger, I did go with this film, The Last Stand. I really enjoy this one. I find this to be a very underrated little action flick, a very underrated flick of his. But there is some really good action in this, you guys, and I really like the storyline of it as well. And then you also have Johnny Knoxville and Luis Guzman in this to, you know, complement his role. But he's really good in this, you guys. Plays the sheriff of this like tiny town, and so yeah, there's like some drug stuff going on, you know, people coming through and stuff, trying to get to the other side of the border, because they're like right on the border. So there's lots of good action in this, you guys. So definitely check this one out if you have not. So next up is Johnny Depp. This is my all-time favorite role of his. Leo was also phenomenal in this film, but I went with What's Eating Gilbert Grape for Johnny Depp. Love this film. Classic. And I don't know, there's just something about his character in this film that is just, it's awesome, you guys. He's so good in this. My next pick is Mark Wahlberg, so I decided to go with Boogie Nights. Yes, it's kind of a risky topic and whatnot, but he was so good in this. Next up, we have Lorenz Tate, and don't get me wrong, love him in Dead Presidents, but this is definitely one of those top roles of his, and that is Why Do Fools Fall in Love? So his portrayal of Frankie Lyman, basically his, you know, rise and fall to his death, and whatnot. Just great music in this, you guys. Great music. But he was fantastic as Frankie Lyman. So you got Why Do Fools Fall in Love for Lorenz Tate. My next pick is Adam Driver. So this film that I actually chose, shout outs to John over at Platex 2 for introducing me to this film. But this is another film that I immediately fell in love with. The dialogue in this is just so good. And being a poet myself, the whole like poetry in this film is just so unique. And it was just very interesting to hear. And just the whole feel of this film, it's just very laid back, but there's also kind of like a good message in there that's kind of like dealing with, you know, like routine life. Like, you know, we can try and live a routine life, but there's bound to be hiccups here and there. So, but oh my gosh, Adam Driver was just so good in this film, you guys. A top-notch role from him, and that is Patterson. Such a great film, and yeah, I just absolutely loved Adam Driver in this. So my next pick is Samuel Jackson. So for him, I wanted to go with a film that I actually personally really do love. I thought he was super great in this film, and it was kind of a little bit more of a serious role for him. I know we see him in a lot of like action stuff and whatnot, but I did pick Coach Carter. I really do love this film, you guys. It's just a great film of him being this coach and just pushing the players, you know, to better themselves and, you know, get good grades and all of that, so that they can not end up in like, you know, prison or dead or whatever, just because of like the community and stuff that they live in and whatnot. But yes, this is a super great basketball flick, and just a great performance from Samuel Jackson. So my next pick is one of my all-time favorite comedic actors. He's just so funny. And this is actually my all-time favorite comedy that I chose for him. And that is Rob Schneider in The Hot Chick. I love this movie, you guys. It is so freaking funny. It is such a blast. I love the concept, and I never get tired of this one. It is as funny for me each time I watch it as it was the first time. And seriously, I've watched this like back to back like several times. I love The Hot Chick, and Rob Schneider in this, he's just so, oh my gosh, like what's not to love about him in this film? He's just so funny. So definitely among my all-time favorite actors is Lou Diamond Phillips. I have loved everything that I have seen him in, but the most iconic role of his, the one that introduced me to him and just made my love grow for him, is his portrayal of Richie Valens in La Bamba. And he is just so perfect for this role. He did an excellent job at portraying Richie Valens, and I've seen this like a gazillion times, you guys, and it's just such a great film and great music, obviously. But yeah, so for Lou Diamond Phillips, I definitely had to go with La Bamba. So for Keanu Reeves, I did go with Speed. I mean, classic, badass flick. His performance is amazing. Okay, so my next pick is Van Damme. So I did go with Kickboxer. This is one that I will always love. Just a classic of his. I grew up watching his films and whatnot, and you know, just his whole martial arts and everything. It's just so awesome to see him in all of these films and whatnot. So I definitely went with Kickboxer for Van Damme. My next pick is Robert De Niro, and so I went with one of his films that I grew up on. This one, I would have to say my favorite gangster flick of all time. I definitely watched this way more than like The Godfather, than Scarface, than Carlito's Way. I'm talking about Goodfellas. So yeah, Robert De Niro in this, absolutely fantastic. Next up is Russell Crowe. So I know he's been in so many, you know, classic, great films and whatnot, but I decided to go with something that is more newer of his, that this one just kind of blew me away. It was a freaking insane watch. I was like just blown away with his performance in this. It was just, wow. It was wild, and it was quite the adrenaline rush. And so that is Unhinged. Just a very kind of like psychotic performance from Russell Crowe in this. But I really enjoyed this one. This, like I said, it has quite the adrenaline rush. And yeah, you guys, don't road rage. Okay, so for Leonardo DiCaprio, kind of a hard one. He has like so many freaking great roles. And like, I've always loved everything that I have seen him in, and he's definitely, you know, one of my all-time favorite actors. But so I did decide to go with Romeo and Juliet on this one, because this is one of those iconic roles that I grew up with, and I love this movie to this day. And honestly, I don't think that they could have picked a better person to play Romeo than Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't care how many times they like try and remake this film, Leo will always be my Romeo. All right, my next pick is Dwayne Johnson. Now, he has such a wide variety of roles. I love him in like everything that he's been in, you know, from the action stuff to the funny and everything in between. But I decided to go with a role of his that I feel is kind of underappreciated, not very well like recognized. It's a great little like action flick, and it is based on a true story, and that is Walking Tall. I guess that was when he was still going by like The Rock in movies, but yeah, I love him in this film. Just there's some really good action in here. He's just so badass and everything, and I just thought he did a really great job in this film. So we got Walking Tall. Tom Hanks, you guys. Gotta love you some Tom Hanks. I just about went with Forrest Gump, but I think I kind of like this film just a tad bit more. And he's phenomenal in this film, you guys. You know, just the whole concept of this film, the idea of this film, and this pretty much just being him alone in this film. That is Castaway. This one too, I remember growing up on this one, you know, one that I watched a lot, my family. And so yeah, Castaway, he's so good in this, you guys. So a great performance from Tom Hanks. All right, so another one of my all-time favorite comedic actors, Adam Sandler. Yes, I love everything that he has been in, except for one film, which I've made that known here on my channel, the one film of his that I cannot stand. But anywho, he just has so many films that are just so good, so funny. But I definitely found myself leaning more towards this film, so that's why I decided to go ahead and pick this one. And that is The Wedding Singer. Yeah, I do. I love him in this film. It's a fun little flick, great little rom-com. And so, yeah, I've just always loved him in this film. So The Wedding Singer. All right, couple more actors to get down. So next up is Eddie Murphy. And I went with a film that... honestly, I really like this film a lot, you guys. I find it so damn funny. I come back to this film a lot, and it's just another one of those films, too, that I find it just as funny now as the first time that I watched it. And he plays 3 people in this film. He plays... Norbit, he plays Rasputia, and then he also plays the little Asian dude that took him in. I forget what his name is, Mr. Wong or Wang, something like that. So he plays the 3 of them, which is really cool. But this film is just so funny, and I just can't get enough of it. And my final pick before we get into the ensemble is Will Smith. And for him, I decided to go with one of my all-time favorites of his, and that is I Am Legend. This is such a great film, you guys. I love everything about it. So we got Will Smith in I Am Legend. All right, so for my ensemble pick with a male-dominated cast, I decided to go with one of the best Westerns out there. That is Tombstone. I freaking love this film. It's actually one that I recently watched for the first time. Earlier this year, I do believe. And yeah, immediately fell in love with it. It is just so damn well done. And it is just a perfect Western in my opinion. So I had to go with Tombstone for my ensemble pick. So those are my picks. Those are my 25 actors. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know, in the comments below, what would be your picks? Who would you pick for the actors? Thank you so much for watching, you guys. All of Huck's information will be in the description box below, as well as a link to my A to Z challenge video. Thanks for watching. Join the family if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.